Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2014-2015 edition of the men's basketball program here at Piqua High School. Alongside me is head coach Heath Butler in his fourth year. I'm Lloyd Shoemaker, your host. We're glad you're with us, and we're looking forward to this basketball season. Coach, you came off of a winning season last year, first one in a number of years, 12-11. Mm-hmm. I know we were all sitting there very tense as we got into that situation where we had to win that 12th game because we knew going into the tournaments it was going to be a little bit tight. How did you feel about last year? Did you feel like you accomplished a lot of things you wanted to?
I was very pleased with what the kids accomplished, and me aside, it was a validation for them and the hard work and the time that they put in. It's not so much what I need or I need a winning season, but just to have a winning season. So that senior group that was my third senior group. And just to have them kind of go out like that, it set a very good foundation for what we're trying to accomplish this year.
Well, I tell you, the first ball game you had against Walpock here at the high school, I thought it sort of set the standard because you come out, you scored, I think it was 71 points in that ball game. You looked really good. A lot of offense, some decent defense. I think they only scored in the 50s or something, Walpock. But I just thought, boy, now that's a heck of a way to start the season. And at the same time, it's kind of a bad way to start the season because now you set the standard for everything else.
Right. And the way we approach things is we just take it one game at a time. Our number one priority is to play our best basketball this year at December 6th. And that was the same thing with Walpock last year. We want to continue to try to get better. So, I get what you're saying about that, but we were very happy with how we came out, and we hope to come out the same kind of way this year. The Walpock game getting pushed back this year, starting out on our home floor versus a very tough Springboro team. It'll be a good opening season test.
Yeah, Springboro last year, if I remember correctly, was 12-11 also.
Yes.
They haven't quite been the same since they lost the big guy. But still it's a challenge because they've always got some good talent down there.
Right, and they got tons of kids who play a lot of basketball. In a school that big, it's a little bit easier to kind of specialize in a sport. So they got some kids that spend a lot of time on basketball. And the good thing is that our kids, even though a lot of them are two-sport athletes, they're starting to spend a lot of time playing basketball as well. So it'll be a very good matchup for us, and we're very excited. We've been preseason started, November 7th, and now about a month later, we're kind of getting ready to go. We're going to finish up with the scrimmage tonight, and then another scrimmage on Monday, and then get ready to go for that December 6th opener.
Yeah, we're actually shooting this program on the Saturday following Thanksgiving, and we're going to be talking about things that are coming up next week, which is on the 6th of December is your first game here at home against Springboro. Let's talk a little bit more about last year. There were 3 games that I can recall that you lost by less than 5 points or less.
Yeah, there was a couple games last year, like you said, 3 or whatever, where we did lose by a couple points or less. But there were also a couple games where we did win, whether it be in overtime or by 5 points or less. So it's just a learning experience for the kids as far as that goes. And this year we've concentrated a little bit more that we know our schedule's tougher. We're going to be in a lot of close ball games. Just kind of, make our lows when we have a low to be smaller, and to when we have a high or when we make a run, try to lengthen those out. And it's nice to be at this point in the program where we can talk about it. The first year I took over, we weren't talking about that kind of stuff. We were just talking about competing and keeping our heads. Now we're not worried about that. We're focused on a little bit more. We know we're going to be in some close ball games. So, we have a lot of experience back with Tate Honeycutt. Being a 3-year letter winner, and with Colton and Storm being back as well. So we got a lot of experience back, and the younger guys, and not necessarily he's not a younger guy, but he's battled through some injuries, but he's healthy this preseason. We're looking for some big things from Brandon Holbein to kind of give us a little bit stability. We can play a very big lineup this year with Brandon and Nate Monin coming up from the JV team and throwing Nash Black from the JV team. We got a lot of interchangeable parts. So we're looking to, in those close games, to be able to have some mismatches and define mismatches and to be able to change stuff up. I think last year we were kind of set on who we played, and we didn't have the ability like we have this year to kind of switch some things up.
Well, you talk about those particular players. You've got at least a half a dozen coming over from the football team. Have you gotten them beyond the point of tackling the offensive player on the other side?
And those kids, not only do they spend a lot of time playing football, but they've spent a lot of time playing basketball. So the transition was easy this year. not getting them out of the football mode, and they hit the ground running, and they've been ready to go, and they've been a great group to coach this preseason.
Well, again, about last year, you lost Harrison through graduation. You lost Ryan Neal through graduation. You lost Monin through graduation. Monin is a kid who just seemed to you could just see him progress throughout the year and become a much better basketball player and a stronger asset for your team as it went on.
Yeah, Dan did a good job for us last year, and we just talked about trying to get out of the football mode. It took him a little while to kind of get out of that football mode, but this year, like I said, we have a lot of kids that have played a lot of basketball, and I don't think we're breaking out of the football mode at all, so I think we're going to be good to go.
Well, Harrison was your little agitator out there on defense. I mean, scrappy kid, quick kid, fly up and down the floor. Neal was a guy that you could count on if you needed somebody to go in there defensively. He wasn't a very prolific scorer for you, but he was physical, and I think the other teams had to be aware when he was on the floor that he was going to hit the boards.
Yeah, both of those guys did a very good job for us in their roles, and that's one of the things that this team has done well without me telling them to do it. They found their roles. We have kind of a Nash Black, a Ryan Neal sort of guy that can kind of come in and get some garbage rebounds for us. Nate Monin's going to help us tremendously. On the boards. Big kid. And we have some guys that have committed to playing defense. Storm has worked really hard on focusing on the defensive end of the floor. Tate Honeycutt's very quick defender. So I don't think we have anybody as harassing as Xavier, but I think total as a team, we're going to be better defensively this year.
I'll tell you, Honeycutt, it seems like he's like a 6-year senior or something. He just seems to have always been out there playing football and basketball.
Right, and I'm very proud of Tate. Tate and Brandon are my first group that I've had since freshman. And just to kind of see, they've been with us through the bad times, and now that we're starting to experience some good times, I'm very happy for them, and they just do a great job. There's only 2 of them left with Tate and Brandon, and it could have been very easy for them to kind of, do something else, or not spend as much time on basketball, but they haven't. And, we look for great things from them this year, and just to have a great season.
Okay, well, let's, last year your 2 leading scorers were a junior and a freshman, and Storm and Bachman. Who else have you got this year that's going to be able to put some points in the?
In the preseason, Bradley Holbein's played really well. He's been able to.
He's what, 6?
He's about 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
And Colton will be a junior this year. He's back. Tate Honeycutt has, he found a role last year where he's kind of more of a distributor. He hit some big shots in our scrimmages so far.
It's also a good rebounder.
Yes, a very good rebounder. And then throw in Nate Monin and Brandon Holbein along with us to give us another scoring in the low post. So we're very versatile, and we're still going to need our Colton Bachmans and our Storm Cooks to get us what they get, points and rebounds wise and assists wise. So we look to be very balanced this year, along with adding 1, 2, 3, even 4 scorers along with Colton and Storm.
Well, those 2 guys last year were the only 2 you had in double figures. Bachman with 17 a game and Storm with 11 a game. But you had a lot of guys in that 7 to 9 area from last year that I know you're going to be counting on this year that didn't graduate. Your schedule this year, you start out with Springboro here. We talked about that a little bit. That's on December 6th, the Friday night ball game. And then you're going to travel up to Walpock the following week on a Friday, and then West Carrollton. You got to go down there and play. They were 0-23 last year. I did not realize that until I started doing some checking some stats on before our conversation. But they are 0-23, and that's very unusual for them, isn't it?
That is unusual for them, but they do such a good job down there that it wasn't too long ago when we were 0-21 or whatever. So things go up and down and go in cycles, and you can never base a lot about what happened last year because things change very quickly. And going down to play there is a great atmosphere to play in and a very tough place to play. So whatever the record is at the time, that'll be another tough game for us.
Well, the 4th game of the season it's nice to have 3 under your belt before that, but the rivalry was Sydney, and the first one is up there this year on Friday night.
Where last year we went up there and played very well, and then they come down here later in the year and beat us in double overtime.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that everybody asks you, what do you think your record's going to be, or how many wins you looking for this year? And you can't really tell that because, Greenville's a lot better, along with Trotwood, who made a run at the state championship last year in Division I. So those 2 teams you start with at the top, and then you throw Sydney and Troy with their both rivalry games, and in rivalry games, I firmly believe that you throw records out the window. And then I think Vandalia, will be better this year as well. So, I think the North as a whole is going to be very, very good and very well rounded.
Now there is some new teams came into the GWAC, the North and the South and the West. Have kind of changed around a little bit. Is that affecting you this year, or is that till next year?
That won't affect us for 2 more years.
2 more years.
And really, as a whole, it really won't affect us much. The only thing it will do in basketball, it probably will take away. Whereas we cross over 2 with the Central now and 2 with the South now, we'll play everybody in our division twice and then cross over with everybody in the South, which is good for us because it's schools that are our size.
Yeah.
And then you're still looking at 2 Central crossovers. So in basketball, it's really not going to affect us that much.
Okay, but we're adding Tip and Stebbins.
We're adding Tip to the north, and Trotwood's going to go to the south. But we're still going to play Trotwood every year because we're going to have a round robin, 1 game with every team in the south.
Okay. Good luck to you this season.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for taking the time Saturday morning to let us come in and do this show.
No problem.